So I was just doing a really quick Facebook Live, and now we're doing a YouTube Live. Welcome, welcome. And we're going to go ahead and do some resin painting. So let me go ahead and get this pulled up, and then we'll get started. I'm going to do something first really quick. This is part B, part A. Try not to resin my computer. Okay. And for anyone watching this later, I always give this disclaimer. This is a live video. So I'm here to chit chat with my friends, answer questions, say hi to everybody. Hey Kathleen, hey Veronica. So if you're here just for a tutorial, you're in the wrong place. Check out one of my many, many tutorials. Who was just with me on Facebook? Hello everybody. We're going to be making some resin projects. Whoop whoop. Yay. Bunch of awesome Facebookers in the house. Okay. So let's make this work. Okay, so first of all, when you resin while it's cold, your resin will be thicker and harder to mix. So I wanted to show you guys, this is how I preheat my resin. And depending on how cold it is, I will do this for about 15 to 30 minutes. So when I got in here, it was particularly cold for my area, which is only like 40 degrees. So I've been heating it for probably only like 20 minutes. I should have heated it for longer, but wow, we got a lot of people here from Facebook. Woo woo. Hey Trisha, things are going pretty good. You can also set it in a warm water bath, but I like this method because A, it also heats my room, and B, it's just easier. You don't have to go heat up water. But some people do a warm water bath. That's okay too. Hey Clara. All right. Now this is your time. Ask me anything. You can ask me questions about resin. You can ask me questions about acrylic pouring. You can ask me questions about business. I will do my best to answer while I am creating a hopefully not horrible art piece. Okay. And let's see what colors I have here. I had a red resin ink bottle explosion. That stuff is crazy. It gets everywhere. And it will never go away. Good. So for those who don't know, I have the class in Texas coming up next month. I do still have a few spots left, so check it out on my website and get registered. And there's going to be a special guest who will be teaching a bloom lesson, which is super exciting. Cheryl, I have only had my own resin for a couple months, and that's what I use now. But Stonecoat has tons of different products. They have casting resin, they have a quick set resin, they have a countertop epoxy. So it also kind of depends on what I'm doing. Right now, I only have the artist resin, which is intended for art projects. So part A is what you particularly have to warm up. All right. Jerry, so what do you use to color your resin? We're going to be using, in this video, resin dyes and micas. And then we're going to probably do a demonstration with alcohol inks, which is exciting. All right, so I'm using this measuring cup. I get these in bulk, usually from Amazon, sometimes from like Home Depot or wherever. They have all the measurements on the side here, and the great thing is you can let the resin dry and then you can peel it out, and these you can use until you break the plastic, which takes me a long time. Have you ever used bright tone? I actually don't know what that is, so I'm gonna go with no. All right, pro tip, take the silver part off the top, otherwise it's really hard to get the epoxy out. So aren't you guys glad you tuned in for the live? You would have never learned that otherwise. Okay, I actually have some red dye on my gloves and I have to take them off. Veronica or Tina, make sure you're doing troll patrol. Okay, yeah. You will learn so much from me. Like, open your bottles before trying to pour them. How do you make resin look 3D? Yeah, generally layers. Layers and layers. Depends on what you're doing, though. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mix up about 16 ounces. I'm going to do a bunch of coasters and a vinyl record. I think that will be enough. Yes, you can use alcohol ink with resin. Absolutely. All right, I like to always put part B in first. It's the more liquid part. So or the more viscous, I guess. It'll make things easier to mix fully. And then I put part A. Oh, interesting, Monica. I will have to check that out, but no, I don't know what it is. So I don't have an opinion on it currently. Just for you online UK, if you guys know about them, they're a glitter company that I use all the time and I get awesome molds from them as well. They have this new eco epoxy kind of stuff, which, I mean, it's not actually epoxy, I don't think. Otherwise, it's a little confusing. But it looks pretty cool, and I keep meaning to get some from them to try it out. Hey, Moose Crazy. So I did not have time to preheat this as much as I wanted, so I'm just doing this all in front of the heater just to get it as warm as possible. And just as a note, one of the ways you can tell that your resin is cold is it'll be very white. So this is not too bad, but the warmer it is, generally, the clearer it will be. And that's because the cold resin, due to being thicker, it really holds on to those air bubbles. And that's what makes it white. All right. And this resin has a work time of about an hour or so. However, depending on how much you preheat it, that can affect the work time. If you preheat it a whole bunch, your work time might be reduced to 30 to 45 minutes. All right, Nora said, does it make a difference on which you pour in first, part A or part B? I always pour in part B first because it's the thinner one, and that makes it easier to get a complete mix. And that's pretty much what I think everybody else does as well. Yeah, it absolutely helps the bubbles if warmed up. So I'm not stirring kind of crazy, but you can. It's not the end of the world. I'm just going pretty gentle here. I'm scraping the sides, scraping the bottom, and you want to stir for about 4 minutes. And once again, if it's cold, you want to make sure you mix it that full amount. If it's pretty hot or you've preheated it, I found that you really don't need to worry about it. Monica, you absolutely can, but you just need to preheat the space and preheat the resin. You don't want to try to do resin when it's 30 degrees, 20 degrees, 40 degrees. Jamie, if the video is fuzzy for you, you need to adjust your settings. It's your playback settings in YouTube. And that should clear it up for you. Wow, it's 110 and 82 degrees in Sydney, Australia. That's so cool. Yeah, so that's probably good enough. One other thing, so let's say you don't mix your resin fully. First of all, it'll generally remain sticky, but a pretty good and easy test is when you peel out the excess resin from this once it's dried. If it's at all sticky on the bottom and it didn't fully cure, then that means you are not mixing fully. Don't stress about it too much, but yes, this is a good arm workout. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with some coasters, and I'm gonna just do alcohol ink in these. Ah, I don't know what I did with my other coaster. Oh, there it is. Okay. I've got a few different ones here. I'm gonna do these guys. These are fun. And this is a mold from Lowly Vefe, I think. It's like 5 different kind of geode shapes. And we're gonna do what's called a resin Petri dish in here. Once again, if your video is fuzzy, you gotta fix it on your end. It's not fuzzy on my end. Trust me. It could also be your internet sometimes. Oh, I don't know why I have this so far away from me. Can't even fully see it in the camera. Okay. It's a little bumpy under here because I got some wet paint. I think it'll be okay. If a piece stays sticky, I mean, it depends on what it is. If it's something like a coaster, it's not easy to fix. You can't really recoat it. If it is like, let's say you sealed a painting or did a countertop and it's still a little bit sticky, then yeah, you can definitely fix that. You can just resin right over it. Okay, I might not have enough for additional coasters after this. I think I'll just have enough for these coasters and then the vinyl record that I want to do. So I'm just putting the clear resin in here. No colorant yet. Awesome. Okay, good. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and do alcohol inks in here, but I'm also going to use, I think, some of this white Castin Craft pigment. And I'll go ahead and mix that up. Now, normally I would use, to be perfectly honest, white alcohol ink, but I don't have any here in this studio, unfortunately. So I'm going to kind of use this as a substitute for that alcohol ink. I think it'll work out. We'll find out. All right. I just need a stick. I got a stick somewhere. Oh, I need to organize this home studio a little bit more. Giraffe. Okay. Please hold, your call is very important. Okay. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to add just a little bit of resin. I've already got clear resin in here, so I don't need to do too much. And then I'm going to add maybe 2 drops of this Castin Craft. I don't want to add too much. Maximum, you're going to use maybe about 10% of your colorant to your resin. If you overdo it, you can have problems with curing. Okay, so I still have air bubbles in here. There's a few things that you can do about that. One, and I'm going to go ahead and move the heater at this point. So one, you can hit it with a heat gun, which I think is what I'll do. Or 2, you can hit it with some alcohol, 91% isopropyl alcohol. You do not want to torch a silicone mold because you can actually ruin the mold. So you got to be careful with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just lightly heat gun this to help with some of the air bubbles. And since we're also using alcohol inks, that will help as well, because there's alcohol in alcohol inks. Who knew? Crazy, right? All right, I'm using mostly Pinata I mean, sorry, mostly Ranger, but I have some Pinata here as well. The isopropyl alcohol, just any drugstore, Walmart, Target, Rite Aid, CVS. You can even get it on Amazon. You know what? Let me get you guys a little more zoomed in because I think you're a little too far. Hey, Nancy. 1 second, you guys. This is so cool. I want to make sure you guys don't miss any effects. Okay, close your eyes for just a second. This is difficult to zoom. Nice. It's going to shake. Adjusting. There we go. Okay. You should be able to see that pretty good. One of these days, I'll have a whole video team. All right, so that color is red pepper. And I think I'm going to do all of these kind of rainbow. I like rainbow, but you can use whatever colors you want. And the colors are just going to start going in. They're going to start expanding. Thank you so much, Rhonda. Yes, the resin can absolutely be used to form resin bowls. 100%. I'm dripping in my next color. This one is, I think, Stream. One of my favorite colors. I probably overuse it. I think I overused that red a little. Ranger alcohol ink. I generally get mine from Michael's, but you can totally get it on Amazon as well. All right, so I'm going to take some of this white dye now, and I'm going to kind of just sprinkle this in here. And that's going to lighten this up, plus push down some of those colors. I'm going to actually add a little more pigment here. Yeah, Judy, I can absolutely do a video on that if you, if anybody's taken my resin art course. I have a video on that in there, doing a freeform resin bowl. Oh, I just did a video on Home Talk. With that, I made a resin bowl. So if anyone goes to DIY with Home Talk on Facebook, you'll see it there. I did share it on my Facebook page as well. All right, yeah, that white sunk right underneath that. So the alcohol inks are pretty light. They tend to raise to the top, and then this is heavier. It's going to sink to the bottom. So one of the reasons to do this is to push some of that alcohol ink down. This cup is plastic. And I've never done this with regular resin colorant. I've only done it with the alcohol ink. So hopefully this works. It'll at least do something cool. Guaranteed. And guys, I can go ahead and these will be ready to demold tomorrow. So I'll post a picture on the community page, okay? Yeah, Jerry, I can totally do another video on that. So Love, Art, and Happy Heart said, do you torch afterwards? I don't torch this, well, for a few reasons. Now that I've put alcohol ink, I really don't want to torch it, but you don't want to torch a silicone mold. So if you do want to move it around for some reason or heat it, go ahead and use a heat gun. Don't use a torch. Okay, I think that's enough white for now. This is going to move around so much, it's going to be so awesome. All right, now I'm using the Pinata Passion Purple. And I'm going to be a little more deliberate with my drops here. Fill in some of these. Oops. I'm deliberately missing the coaster. Just kidding. That was a joke. But I'm just filling in some of this clear spots. I think the last color I might want to add in here, maybe pink. Let's see if I have some. Oh, I might want to put some gold in here too. Yeah, so this alcohol ink, if you torch it right now too, you will light it on fire. All right, I have this Breeries. Oh, okay, it was a joke. This is a different brand that I haven't used a lot. Pink. I got this from Michael from that dude, Michael. No, I got it from Michael's. And don't worry too much if you get it on your silicone mold. It's silicone, nothing sticks to it. It just washes off basically. So don't stress about it. All right, I'm gonna go in here with a little more whites. And then that's essentially all we're gonna do on these. It may not look like that much from this end, but when we take these out of the mold tomorrow, they're going to be awesome. Guaranteed. You cannot go wrong with this. So especially if you're new to alcohol inks or you're new to resin or both, this is such a fun and easy technique to do. And normally I'd be using Pinata, the Pinata white alcohol ink instead of white resin. This white is Cast and Craft pigment. Sure, Cheryl, I can do that. Absolutely. I'll take a picture. I'll post it everywhere. I'll put it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'll share it wide and far. All right. I think this is good. I'm pretty excited. All right, now pro tip, and I did not do this, but I should have. If you have a really flexible mold like this, and you're going to be moving it to do, say, another project, it's best to put something stiff underneath it, like a piece of cardboard. Otherwise, it can be really difficult to move. I'm going to try to just gently slide it out of the way. Of course, I did that Facebook Live right before this. I got wet paint under here. Let me see if I have... You know what? I'm going to just temporarily use this record. Hopefully that does it. All right, I saw I missed a question or two. Please hold. Okay. Just moving that off to the side. Yeah, right. I need one of those magic ovens. All right. Only one of those was really full, so that was mostly okay. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do a vinyl record that will be turned into a clock, mostly. Nancy, I just did some coasters. So as you can see on here, and I'll make sure this is fully in the camera, I did pre-prime. I did prime this with some black. And that's mainly because sometimes the color of the label can leak through, mainly if it's a red label. And don't worry, you guys, these records that I have were totally scratched up and they were not even in sleeves, and the record store was about to throw them in the trash, so I confiscated them. So don't worry, I'm not using playable good records. Okay, so I like to raise this up. Resin's going to run over the side. And also another thing is I like to tape off the hole. Wendy, I've done one project already and I'm about to start another one. So you're here in good time, I think. Oh, I forgot to put gold on those coasters. That's okay. They're going to be without gold. All right, I'm going to mix up some more white. And for this, I'm going to use that white pigment plus some of the micas. I'm not going to use the alcohol inks for this. You can mix alcohol inks, but alcohol inks are pretty transparent. So in general, I don't use them to actually paint a resin project. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. I am now having a serious cup issue. Gotta scrounge for some other cups. All All right, I got one more here. So I think I'm going to use, this is called Interference Blue. And it's basically a pearl color, but it's kind of like color shift. Do you guys know what color shift is? So in different lights, the color changes, basically. Okay, good news, I handled the stick situation. I also found some of these plastic cups that'll work. So this is basically a color shift color, and if it says interference blue, that means it's pearl, but in certain lights, it becomes blue. Really pretty. AGL, maybe Veronica can grab you the link for that video. I definitely have lots of videos on paint mixing. Yeah, I love interference colors as well. So same thing with micas. You don't need to use more than about 10% of the colorant to your resin ratio. Made it a little messier. I'm going to bring this in for a close-up because it's so pretty. I want you guys to see the opalescence that it has. I feel like I'm using a lot of big words. Hopefully you guys can see this. And you can see in the light, it's got that blue. So I've got like red interference, gold interference. Okay. Very pretty. And just so you guys know, I officially only have 2 gallons of resin left, and I'm not getting any more in for about a month. There's a bit of delay on the ordering line. So if you want some resin, definitely grab it. The code, you can use the code epoxy through the end of tomorrow for 6% off. All right, and I'm going to use, this is Illumidust Bright Blue. Actually, no, I'm going to use Crater Lake Blue, which is a little brighter than Bright Blue. Yeah, I've had a lot of frustrations on manufacturing recently. Oh, there's also a hidden brown metallic in here. Okay. I do not dissolve my mica in alcohol first. You can just pour it right in. So I like to pour my mica in first, just in case I overdo it. Then I add the resin. Some people do the opposite. Some people put the resin, then the mica. It is a little easier to mix that way, but I find that you can just get into trouble. Oh, bye, Clara. And a bunch of awesome people will be at my Dallas class next month, including Clara Lawrence. So I hope that some more of you guys can make it there. Oh, that's awesome, Cheryl. All right, this is the Crater Lake Blue. And then I'm going to use a color I've never used before. It's called Molten Gold. And it looks exciting. I've never used it before. We'll see. See what happens. I kind of want to use another dye. I may use, I don't have a lot of dyes here. I have a green dye. What color do you think would go well with these colors I already have, you guys? So I've got gold, blue, white, and then the pearl interference color. This is a poly color. And all of these colors pretty much are sold by Stone Coat Countertops. All of the Illumidust products. Purple, 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 green, green. All right, purple, purple. Got a lot of votes for purple. So let me see if I have purple. If not, I will do green. How about that? I think if we do green, we're going to end up with a very earthy looking piece, which is totally fine. I like earthy looking pieces. Well, let me see if I can find purple. I may or may not have purple. Oh, you know what we're going to do? Booyah, we're going to do a combo here. I found a hidden mica powder back here. So I'm going to use this color. It's called light purple, but it's really like pink. But I'm going to add some of this amazing purple glitter called Muse. I can't do both. I don't have enough resin, I don't think. So I'm going to use these two combined. So it'll be kind of a warm purple, which I think will be awesome. And you can use the glitter all by itself. You don't have to add mica to glitter. Just FYI. Got a lot of votes for purple. I think purple will look really pretty with this color combination. Okay. And if I have some resin left over, which I think I probably will, I'm going to do another set of coasters. Okay, the record was primed with just a black spray paint and primer, paint and primer in one with it was a matte. And I think I used Krylon. Does not really matter though. You can use Rust-Oleum or whatever. But I do recommend matte because that'll help the colors stick a little bit better. Ooh, this is so pretty. I gotta bring it around for you guys to see. I love doing custom mixes. This is so pretty. So it's like a really glittery pinkish purple. It's like a unicorn died in here. The sacrifice was well worth it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of prime the record here with a little bit of just a clear coat. I didn't have much left. I'm going to kind of spread this around. It's also getting pretty cold in here. So resin's a little thicker right now than I would want. That's okay. All right, that's as good as it gets. Okay, I have an idea. Let me see if I can execute it. Please hold. I think this will come out really cool if I can find a cup. My goodness, Marcy, bring cups home. It's not that difficult. If I can find a cup, yeah, I think this will work. That's too dirty. Hold on. I have these cups that I use for the vases and stuff. So it's got paint on the outside, but it's clean and unused on the inside. Okay, guys? So don't stress too much about it. It'll work out. We are going to do this as a dirty pour, and I'm basically going to do a tree ring. Okay, so I'm going to just scrape the last little bits of clear in here. Why not? Only do that if you're sure you mixed it fully, though. Oh no, Tina. Okay. All right, so let me just take a little bit more of this paint off. 1 second. Where's all my organization police here? I love that you guys are not judging me right now. That is making me very happy. It's been a very stressful day and stressful month. So this is also my stress release. Okay. I have to change my gloves. Please hold. One more. If I had rubbing alcohol in here, I would just clean them off. But I don't. You can absolutely layer resin. So when you do a dirty pour with resin, it's not the same as acrylic. Resin will blend a lot more than acrylic will. So I'm going to pour really slowly down the side of the cup because I want my colors to not blend as much as humanly possible. So I'm starting with the white. Then let's go with this amazing purple. Remember, what we put in first is what's going to come out last. So I'm going to make sure how I put this in here is exactly how I want it. Oh, can you guys see it? No. Let me move slightly. Sorry. I have it so zoomed in so you guys can see the project, but then I was like, oh, you can't see the cup. Okay. Then I'm going to go with this molten gold, which is almost looks like a color shift color as well. It is very sparkly. All right, and then I think we'll go with some of the interference. Why not? And then I'm going to do Crater Lake blue, but I want to actually add a little bit more mica to this. It does not have enough colorant, so it's a little more transparent than I want. Okay, so Catherine said, are you wearing a protective mask? No, I'm not. Donna said, would using a heat gun thin the clear resin? Yes, it absolutely would. However, with vinyl records, you need to be very, very careful with heat because it will warp the record. So unless I need to, I generally don't apply heat. I'll only apply it at the end and just very gently. Okay, here's the Crater Lake blue. So this resin has about, it depends. This resin has about an hour work time. I'm going to go ahead and layer those again. So we're going with the white here. And this is going to be way, 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 way more blended. Just really want to make sure you guys know that, than it would be if it was acrylic. But that's okay. It's still going to be awesome. And I don't need all of this resin. So I'm going to go ahead and I think leave some to the side, and then I'll see. I may be able to do a set of coasters. To cover this vinyl record, you need probably about 3 ounces. You don't need that much. So I want to make sure I put a little bit extra in here just because I am doing this as an art piece. Okay, and here we go. So I'm going to go towards the side that has the least amount of paint on it. Can you guys see this okay? Let me scooch it back over just a little bit. Center it a little more. Okay. And I'm going to just basically do exactly like a tree ring. I'm going to pour very slowly in the middle here. I'm going to do kind of a wider tree ring though. And these colors are going to just be so luscious. But they're obviously a lot more blended than an acrylic pour. And you can see it's kind of thick right now due to it being cold in here. It's not curing yet. That's a different kind of thickness, just in case anyone's concerned. It's definitely not curing. So I'm going to let the rest of this run out. And then I am going to heat this a little bit with my heat gun. And then we'll do our tilting, our fun tilting. Just be really careful with the heat gun because you do not want to melt your record. That's just sad. I feel like I was trying to save paint for a couple coasters or save resin. So I hope this is enough. I may, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit more of this interference and kind of just grease the pan a little bit more around here. And keep in mind too, resin can be pretty transparent depending on the color. So we may see some of that black through it, which you can see as I'm putting this interference blue down on the black, it's definitely changing to blue, which is awesome. I love it. Good one, Monica. I see what you did there. All right. Get a little more clear. Okay, here we go. Gentle heating, gentle heating. It is a hot album. If it does warp, it's not the end of the world. You can straighten it. Another thing you can do with vinyl records is you can make it into a killer bowl, which I've done. One time, my very adorable, loving husband put one of my vinyl record paintings outside in the sun so that he could varnish it, but he left it in the sun. So as you could probably guess, that didn't go out along too well, but that's okay. I actually made it into a really cool bowl. Hot off the press. Oh, I'm digging the puns, you guys. All right, I'm going to help it around the edges here a little bit. And yes, my gloves are way too big, which is definitely making this a little more interesting. Okay, gonna heat it again a little bit. Yeah, you can bake them. That's another thing too. So I just want to get this at least mostly to the edge, and then I can help it the rest of the way. So mental note for this project, and I was trying to be a little stingy with my resin. Don't be stingy with your resin. Add more than you think you need to. I only did about 4 ounces. This should probably have a little bit more if you want to make your life easy. Unlike with resin paint, you can't really have too much, or unlike with acrylic paint, sorry, you can't really leave too much resin on here. So it'll just dry just fine. And this is way more gorgeous than it looks in the camera there. I can't wait to show you guys the close-up. It is so sparkly and amazing. 1 second. Almost there. Let's get the last few little outside spots. And also, I can imagine, I'm going to do this again with a vinyl record, and I'm going to use white and clear and leave the black background. I think that would be so cool. You can also prime your record with any color, by the way. You can prime it with white or blue or whatever. So if you know what colors you're going to use in your project, prime it with one of the corresponding colors, is my suggestion. Okay. Almost there, I promise. All right. I'm going to bring you guys in for a close-up on this in just a second. But I want to just explain to you what I do with my leftover resin. And I typically will just throw it into a mold. Yeah, glow in the dark would be awesome. So like I don't have enough resin here to do a project with. So I'm going to throw it into a couple resin molds. Can't really zoom out. I have resin all over my hands. But I'm going to just evenly distribute the resin through these 2 molds really quickly. And don't worry if you don't fill them all the way in. You can always add clear or other colors later. Some of my coolest coasters have been with layers upon layers of completely random colors that turn out pretty wild. All right, So let me go ahead and just finish this. I'm going as fast as I can, and then I will show you guys the awesome close-up on the record, okay? In the meantime, let me know if you guys have any questions. Also, please make sure you check out my class coming up in Dallas. And if you want to buy a gallon of specifically, I do have half gallons and the 8-ounce size. But if you want to buy a gallon of resin, they may already be gone. But last I checked, right before this video, I had 2 left. So go grab yours right now. You can use the code epoxy for 6% off through tomorrow. Okay, almost there. Couple more colors. And the resin is, it feels like just starting to set. And it's been about 45 minutes and I did preheat it, so not too shabby. Jerry, I'm definitely working on it. Okay, that's a great question. So a question is, how do I address the drips on the back? So typically I just sand them off and then I will spray paint the entire back to give it a nice even color. That's what I like to do. Some other people like to pre-tape the back so that the resin, you can just peel the tape off. I'm, for lack of a better word, too lazy for that. For me, I like to just sand, give it a quick sand and a spray paint. So Alicia, I think you might be missing some of your message there. Unless it's random word day. In which case, applesauce. Okay, last color, then we do our close-up. I promise. All right, good enough, good enough. Hey, Kimberly from Billings, Montana. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna shake. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, and everyone make sure that your playback speed, your quality is the highest quality. Good job, Tina. So zoom out a little bit. It's gonna shake. Close your eyes. Oh, that was in, not out. There we go. Yeah, I will make this into a clock matter, generally. You could just use it as wall art also. Thanks, Nilsa. That's another possibility, I guess. Where I got the molds. If you're talking about these molds that I used earlier, I got these from Loli Vefe. If you're talking about these molds that I just filled up here, these are from Just For You Online UK. Okay, sorry, try not to shake. Yeah, my favorite coaster molds are from Just For You Online UK, which they do have a US shop also, so you guys see all that sparkle in there? And then here is a part where it was a little bit clear, so that black showed through, and I think that's awesome. Alicia, are you asking about the coaster molds? Because all I see is shoe. But if you're asking about the molds, yeah, no, I'm lost. I'll let you handle it, Tina. Yeah, really sparkles. It looks prettier in person, of course, always. Yeah, it reminds me of Mother of Pearl too. Look at that purple in there. Oh, yeah, see, I see only parts of messages, and then I get real confused. Okay, yeah, so Alicia, you can find a mold for just about anything online. So step 1, Google it. If you cannot find the mold already made for what you want, you can custom make a mold pretty easily. And Alumilite, specifically the company Alumilite, has a ton of easy DIY mold making kits that are so easy. So you'll mix them up. You'll put your whatever you want to make in there, and then you can cast it. So check out Alumilite mold making kit. That's my best suggestion for you. You can make a mold of anything, and then you just do your resin. Okay, you guys. So I hope you had fun. I will show these dry tomorrow. I'll do a photo of some sorts. You can do this same process on canvas. You just want to make sure that it is nice and taut. If your canvas is loose at all, the resin will just sink in the middle. So if I'm resining a canvas, I will always prime it with one of the colors that I'm using in my piece. And then I will spray the back with water to tighten it up as much as humanly possible before using it. Great questions. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Alicia, it's Alumilite. Let me get it. Let me just grab it for you because I got it here. It's with an A. Please hold. I think also if you look in my Amazon store, so mold making and casting resins. I'm going to get you the Alumilite site directly, but they also have, they're also on Amazon, okay? So there you go. Alumilite. Oh, bye, Barbara. Bye, Monica. Can you add some gold to the coasters? I can, but I actually am pretty excited with how they're looking, so I'm going to just leave them as is. Yeah, I cannot wait to see all of these dried as well. And obviously make sure any resin is level. Nancy, okay, I'm going to take one more question. So Nancy said, what do you do with the hole? So I just go ahead and drill it out afterwards. It's pretty simple. And I think a 1/4 inch drill bit is what I usually use. Okay, full disclosure, I don't do it. I have my dad do it because, you know, he's Mr. Drill Guy. I do have my own drill, but he always knows where his drill bits are and he gets it done really quickly. Plus, he's my awesome helper. Okay, you guys, I love you. I'll see you all next time. Bye.